So exercise, I might not be a good one on this to give any advice on it, so I'm not going to get too deep in it, but what I've learned is, here's the tip. You do as little as you possibly can to get away with staying fit. You know, ideal minimum dose. That doesn't mean you're not going to work hard. You know, there's things you're going to be able to do. This isn't just, you know, dilly-dallying, but ideal minimum dose, you got to figure out what that is. And there's nothing wrong with being competitive as long as you understand, you know, kind of what your boundaries are. Strength and power. So for me, that's what I learned the most when I got into the whole exercise thing, because I put that on the side. You know, it was always about being as lean as I could be, so I could be as fast as I could be, and I wasn't going to pick up a weight, so I didn't want to get any muscle fiber. You know, and Aaron would bust my chops all the time. You need to put some meat on your bones, man. And I just stayed away from it, but that's a key component in all these, in longevity and in wellness and performance. You got to have muscle. You know, you got to have some mass as you go along. Recovery biomarkers, I touched a little bit on that. So HRV, you got to know how that's trending when you're training and doing exercise. What's your heart rate look like, and what are your hormones doing? You know, are you training too much? Are you doing the right things? You need to keep an eye on that. Carbohydrate utilization. You know, I particularly try to keep my carbs around when I'm going to do some of the harder training. Just because that's when it's optimal, but you want to kind of time when you do your carbohydrates around your training, your exercise output, and so you want to kind of pay attention to that. And then exercise timing and your circadian rhythm. You know, your grip strength, your body temperature, you know, those things sort of peak at certain times, not necessarily first thing in the morning. Ideally, it's going to be in the afternoon. So you want to test that theory. If you're going to do interval training, you may want to look at doing that in the afternoon. If you're going to do some good fat burning, long endurance stuff, do that in the morning when you're already, you know, in that fat burning mode. You haven't eaten for 12 hours. You're more likely to burn fat when you're going slow, so that's a good time to do that. Movement. So this is sitting is the new smoking, right? We got to move, and we got to move all the time. Now, movement for you might be different for me. I do a 2-mile walk in the morning. I consider that just movement. You know, a lot of the stuff I do, I just, you know, unless I'm grinding it, I just consider that to be movement. But for some people, that's their exercise. But you want to find some things to do throughout the day to keep you moving. If I was, you know, going to still be, you know, working longer than what I am now, I'd have a walking treadmill. You know, Linda didn't always know this, but I would close my door and do some squats every, you know, 60 minutes, and just, you know, you just want to get moving. You want to keep yourself moving. Stand up. Don't, you know, do minimal sitting if you possibly can. Balance and mobility. So Kim's going to tell me if I'm looking okay there. And by the way, this is if you have a chance, you need to talk to Kim after this. She's been a great friend of Gavin and ours, and Kim is a massage therapist / chiropractor / knows everything. She's kind of a mentor, so she's probably taking notes going, you know, this needs to be corrected and that needs to be corrected. But it's kind of nice while I'm getting the fascia broken up in my quads with a big stainless steel like piece of metal that I could talk to her about some of this otherwise. But balance, mobility, posture, and what Kim tells me is like, if you're not feeling yourself have to correct it, you know, to keep yourself in the right posture, you're probably not doing it right. You know, you just end up doing this. So you have to think about it, and you have to work on it, and it's going to be part of wellness. You got to work on that, and there's different ways to do it. I have a trampoline, morning, get the lymphatic flow going, you know, it helps the immune system. You know, I jump on that thing for 4 or 5 minutes, but, you know, that's an important thing to do. And then blood glucose utilization. So, and what that means is when you're eating, you know, before a meal, you can do kind of a little bit of activation to get your muscles sort of primed to take in some of the glucose that you're going to put in your mouth. And then after you're done, that next 10, 15, 20 minutes, if you take a walk or you do some light exercise, it makes you more likely to pull that blood sugar into your muscles as opposed to be stored as fat. So movement around, you know, kind of meals and things like that helps that blood glucose utilization. Brain health. You know, for me, maybe I'm going to be wrong about this, but I'm pretty confident just based on my history at my age that, as I get older, I'm probably going to be doing okay with my body. Like, I'm probably not going to be disappointed about where my body's at, but I am worried about where my brain's going to be. Because we tend to kind of forget about that big organ, and so, we do things that negatively could affect us. We want to be able to hang on to that as we get old, but you have to work on it. And so, you have to avoid certain foods. Your brain just doesn't do well on a poor diet, and most of that is going to be the same as it's going to be for maintaining good nutrition. You eat the right things, kind of as a basic nutrition protocol, it's going to be good for your brain. Meditation, I'm a firm believer. It's a little woo-woo, but I'm a firm believer in meditation. It helps keep the stress down. I do it every day. I think it's something you ought to look into. There's a lot of good books, a lot of good apps. It's easy, 10 minutes, but it calms your mind down, and it's good health. It's good health for your brain. And FYI, I'm doing a 10-day Vipassana retreat in Georgia the first week in May, and that's a silent retreat, no talking, and we're going to be meditating for 10 hours a day for 10 days. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm getting, but that's how I am. So I'm going to be the first person. I'm going to be the first person to take my overtraining from triathlons to like meditation. Like, I'm going to overtrain on one of these wellness activities. I kind of guarantee it. Exercise is good for the brain. I don't know if you guys do much. Like, if you ever exercise, you just feel good. You get the BDNF that is kind of it enhances your cognitive awareness. So exercise helps your brain, and we talked about ketone body. They're finding studies both with Alzheimer's and just in general brain health that cycling through and getting some ketones going is probably a good thing for your brain. So that's one of the advantages of the ketogenic diet. Social interaction. This one, we're doing it now. This one I kind of missed, but having social relationships is, in studies they've done, people that are old, they found that those people have good social interactions. They have friends, they're with family, they're just always socialized, as opposed to people that are by themselves and sort of have a life of loneliness. They see a connection between loneliness and chronic disease. So, and they also see with people that have lower inflammatory markers also have a nice social life. So there's a connection there. So, something you want to pay attention to.